Welcome, and thank you for coming to my channel. If I ask you this, a newly released mobile MMORPG with an open world, real-time combat, bosses, guilds, PvP, terrain climbing, multiple classes, and only around 1.5 gigabytes in size, does that sound good? Many of you would probably say, yeah, that sounds decent. But when you actually jump in and play, is everything really as advertised? Or is this just another mobile game wearing a flashy fantasy coat to hide a very familiar formula you've already seen dozens of times? Today, I'm going to give an honest review of Crimson Realm Desert Immortal, a name that sounds quite unfamiliar but has been heavily pushed on mobile gameplay channels recently. I'll talk about both the good and the bad, no sugarcoating, no unnecessary criticism. Stay until the end of this video, because there are a few things I think you need to know before downloading the game. First, let's quickly go over the basic information. Crimson Realm Desert Immortal is an open-world fantasy MMORPG currently running on Android with a size ranging from about 1.4 to 1.7 gigabyte depending on the version, requires an online connection, the main language is English, and the game is officially released with the latest update I've seen around late March 2026. So this is a fairly new game. You could even say it just came out. As for the developer, I have to point out something a bit uncomfortable right from the start. The information about who is behind this game is not really clear. Some sources list each fun game, while others show unlock game. I'm not trying to make things difficult for the game, but this is a minus point in terms of transparency that I think you should know. A product with big ambition should at least be consistent with its publisher name, right? Now to the most important part, gameplay. Based on what I experienced and observed while playing, the main gameplay loop of Crimson Realm Desert Immortal is quite typical of old-style mobile MMORPGs. You take main quests, NPCs guide you, you go do tasks, fight bosses, unlock new features, receive rewards, then take the next quest. And it keeps repeating like that. It sounds fine because this is the basic formula of every MMORPG, but the problem is how much the game holds your hand. Phrases like, follow this path, or let's continue with the main quests, appear constantly, to the point that I feel like the game is guiding me step by step, rather than letting me explore on my own. And one thing I especially noticed is a clear sign of an auto system. In the gameplay, I saw the line, go back to your auto, which is something you can't ignore. That means the game almost certainly has auto combat or auto navigation, and this clearly defines the type of players the game is targeting. I'm not saying auto is completely bad because many mobile MMORPG players actually need auto to grind while being busy. But if you're looking for a game that requires real skill expression, precise dodging, positioning, then this might not be what you're looking for. The combat is advertised as real-time, and visually the skill effects look quite eye-catching, with big bosses and decent combat animations. But how deep the combat really is, whether it truly requires manual control or mostly revolves around optimizing stats and letting auto run, that's something I recommend you figure out yourself within the first 30 minutes of playing. As for graphics in the game world, this is where I think Crimson Realm performs best, or at least best compared to what it promises. The fantasy setting is built quite strongly with elements like Dragon Palace, Divine Tree, Destiny Compass, Blood Shadow. It all sounds very atmospheric. The map appears large with vertical traversal, meaning you can climb, glide, move across different terrains, and this actually creates a sense of depth more than a typical mobile MMORPG. If you like games that feel grand, colorful, and full of effects right from the moment you open them, then visually Crimson Realm does meet that expectation. However, I also have to be honest that this grand feeling doesn't necessarily mean the world design is truly deep. Many mobile MMORPGs of the same generation use a similar formula, create large maps, fill them with impressive scenery, but most of it serves as a backdrop for quests rather than offering meaningful, independent exploration. I don't have enough data yet to confirm whether Crimson Realm falls into that category, but this is something you should check for yourself when playing. As for the audio, to be honest, I don't have enough information to evaluate it in detail. From the gameplay I've seen, the background music seems to follow a standard epic fantasy style. Nothing particularly outstanding, but not annoying either. I don't want to make up detailed comments about the audio when I haven't spent enough time actually playing and experiencing it, because this is something that needs real gameplay to evaluate properly. As for the story, honestly, with this type of mobile MMORPG, I don't have very high expectations for the storyline. From what I've seen through gameplay, it's a pretty standard fantasy setting, with divine elements, dark forces, and the player taking on the role of the chosen one to save the world in a very familiar way. There's nothing wrong with this formula, but don't expect a memorable narrative experience like Final Fantasy or Genshin Impact. This is more like lore dressing to provide context for fighting bosses and leveling up, and in that role it does its job well enough. Now let's move to what I think is the most important part for many of you, the progression system and monetization. The game includes all the systems you would expect from a modern mobile MMORPG, including a class system with at least 3 main archetypes: warrior, assassin, and mage, along with gear upgrading, dungeons, world events, bosses, guilds, and large-scale PvP. If you're someone who enjoys having lots of things to do, likes the feeling of logging in every day to new tasks, daily and weekly activities, then this game clearly has enough loops to keep you engaged. But I have to be honest about something that makes me a bit concerned. Signs of monetization are introduced very early and very obviously in the game's flow. Even during the early tutorial phase, you already see prompts like, "Go to the shop," and click the purchase button. I can't conclude yet how pay-to-win this game is because I haven't played deeply enough, but the fact that the shop is pushed right from the start is a clear signal that monetization is designed to be constantly present throughout your gameplay experience. This is something you should pay close attention to when you try the game yourself. In terms of UI and UX, this is a fairly clear downside. The UI follows the traditional mobile MMORPG style with lots of pop-ups, many buttons, and multiple windows interrupting the gameplay flow. You'll constantly see things like claim, repair, unseal, expand, and close appearing one after another. For players familiar with this genre, it's not a big issue, but if you're used to clean UI like in Genshin or single-player RPGs, the early experience might feel overwhelming. On top of that, the English localization doesn't feel fully polished yet. Some lines of dialogue and instructions come across as slightly awkward and unnatural. This doesn't affect gameplay directly, but it does impact immersion if you care about that role-playing experience. Installing the game is quite simple. You can search for Crimson Realm Desert Immortal on Google Play, download it at around 1.4 to 1.7 gigabytes, and you'll need an internet connection to play. At the moment, I've only seen the Android version confirmed. If there's an iOS version, you may need to check it yourself. Now let me summarize to help you decide. The strengths of Crimson Realm Desert Immortal include its visually impressive fantasy presentation for a mobile game in this range, a world that appears large with vertical traversal, and a full set of systems for busy mobile MMORPG players. Bosses, guilds, PvP, and events are all there, and the real-time combat looks visually appealing. The weaknesses are just as clear. Overly strong guided navigation and auto systems, a cluttered UI with too many pop-ups, monetization being pushed early, and obviously unpolished English localization, and most importantly, inconsistent transparency regarding the publisher. So, do I recommend you play it? The honest answer depends on who you are. If you enjoy system-heavy mobile MMORPGs, like increasing your power level, and enjoy the feeling of logging in daily for new quests, new bosses, and guild interactions, then Crimson Realm might fit your taste and is worth trying since it's free. But if you're looking for a truly immersive role-playing experience, skill-based combat, a clean UI, and a trustworthy publisher for long-term investment, then I recommend waiting at least a few months to see how the community responds before spending money on this game. This is a new game still finding its player base, and it's too early to make a final judgment about its long quality. I'm reviewing based on what I've observed so far, and I think this is enough information for you to have a clear and realistic perspective before downloading. If this video helped you, please leave a like to support me. It costs you nothing but helps the channel a lot. If you've already played Crimson Realm, drop a comment below and let me know your real experience, especially about the pay-to-win aspect and the depth of combat, because those are two things I really want to hear honest feedback about from the community. Subscribe if you want more honest mobile game reviews like this. I try to give real opinions instead of just repeating game descriptions. See you in the next video.